my goal personally, I'm always on a quest for knowledge. I'm always trying to learn more. Whether if I've been in the system for 3, 4, 5 years, I'm still trying to play like I'm a rookie, the first day ever, and being able to go to Wisconsin. I got there July 1st. I told myself I had 21 days to learn this whole entire playbook, an NFL-style playbook, and I put everything into it.
Russell Wilson led the University of Wisconsin Badgers to a Big Ten championship last year and also to the Rose Bowl, and now he's in New York just hours away from the start of the NFL draft, and he hopes to be in a new NFL jersey by the end of the week. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here in New York City, and it's a great place, and I've been excited for this moment my whole entire life.
This won't be your first time as a professional athlete though, right? I mean, you played professional baseball. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I got drafted in the 4th round by Colorado Rockies in 2010, so I know how to be a professional. I'm excited about the opportunities of playing in the National Football League though.
Did you perform as well in baseball as you thought?
Well, I started off, in A-ball. I think I did pretty good, but you always want to do better, whenever you're playing a professional sport. But, I just knew that my heart and my desire to play football was unmatchable.
You're an under pressure player. You're that guy on the sidelines that sees the defense give up some points, and then you throw a 70-yard pass.
Well, I think as a quarterback, you have to, you have to be able to, sustain pressure. You have to, just be the calm in the storm at all times.
Right, but how do you do that? Because not every quarterback is able to do that, and that's really your trademark.
I think all the things I've been through, in my life, playing professional sports, as you said, but also, my dad passed away the next day, and just all the things that I've gone through. I've started in 50-plus games. I played a lot of football and I play a lot of baseball too. So that professional type, sport, I've always been playing, and so just being calm and just telling myself, hey, relax in this moment, be big right here. Big time players make big time plays in big situations.
When you go into the draft, there are people that are saying you won't go until maybe the 4th round, and that's because you're a little shorter, not as big as your average starting quarterback. Don't you think you should probably go higher?
Well, I'm the exception to the rule. I'm trying to be the exception to the rule by the way I play. I believe that I have all the tools. I believe I have the mental aptitude. I just need an opportunity.
Right.
And whatever team takes me, whether it's the first pick overall or the 200th pick.
When you look at the way that quarterbacks are judged before they come in, based on things like your 40 time or your height or your weight, should it be that hard and fast, or is it also an art to pick the right quarterback?
Well, I think it definitely is important to see a guy's physical attributes, what he brings to the table athletically and size-wise. And I definitely believe that I have everything except for maybe the height. Maybe a little bit shorter than some of the other guys. But, in terms of, picking a quarterback, there's a lot that goes into it. It has to be how he plays on film. How does he do when the game's on the line? How does he do in 3rd down situations, red zone situations, when the game's on the line? That
experience of coming into Wisconsin and transferring and having to learn the offense so quickly will help you in the NFL.
Well, I think that's huge. I think every NFL team that I've talked to has mentioned the fact that I can learn very quickly, and that's tough to do. Some of the guys who have played quarterback in the college football level haven't played in NFL offenses, and so I think that's an advantage, a huge advantage that I have.
When you go into the draft now, if there's any message that you want to deliver to the teams going into the draft about you in terms of your tangible qualities as a quarterback, what is that?
Well, I think you have to put on the film and see the competition that I've played week in and week out, and at the high level that I've played it at. I've had the opportunity to break NCAA records with the passing efficiency. I got to Wisconsin, pulled on Bree Street, and I just continually thought, I want to be the best quarterback in this college football season.
And you signed with Nike.
Yeah.
You just signed an endorsement with Nike. How did that come about?
Well, Nike, had been talking to me and some other, organizations and everything, but there's no better company than Nike. I was fired up to sign with them. Excited about that. I'm excited to wear that every single day, and be out in the football field wearing the swoosh.
Okay, well, keep in touch with us. We're going to be following you closely.
Thank
Russell
you so
Wilson.
much. Let's continue. Appreciate it.
All right. And with Russell Wilson, I'm Lee Hawkins. We'll see you next time. Had some bumps.